G'day and welcome back to SuperCoach Edge. Now I am back, Liam is back, we're both back. And Liam, this episode we turn our attention towards the last of our Defender episodes with, of course, the rookies.
Yes, that's it. Gonna get into some rookies. I don't have my Stein because there's not as many. I mean, there's plenty of rookies, but I feel like of all of the positions, I feel like there's some lower price options that I'm looking forward to in other lines, like the forwards and the mids particularly. So maybe we can reserve it because of that.
Exactly. I'm back on the cans. Back on the can of rookie juice this time.
Regular rookie juice.
Yep. Just a
nice
bit of
can. Not a full half a litre Stein.
Two fingers.
Yeah, that's it. Now, in the last episode, Damon, you were missing. We did run through some mid prices. So we spoke about who we speak about. We spoke about McKercher, Cal Mills, obviously, Jaden Short, SDK, Josh Sin, a few others. Anyone else? Anyone specifically you had any thoughts on?
Well, yeah, I mean, of those that you just spoke about, I won't go into too much detail, but it probably aligns with most of what you've said, just in terms of, we're kind of in sync anyway, Liam, we know that. Yeah. But Mills is probably the one that sticks out to me. He's in my team and has been across the entirety of the preseason, as he probably would be for most people in their starting teams. I really like the look of him. Increased role potentially inside the midfield, back to that traditional role under the new coach in the big Coxie. So he's definitely one that I'm liking. Josh Sin, he's made not a return, but I guess a feature in my team as of late, when it has come to light that he could be taking over Dan Houston's vacancy in defence as sort of that quarterback role, at the price of $229.5K. Really, really juicy prospect, and somewhere where we can really squeeze a little bit more out of more of rookie juice out of in this sense there. So I like the value out of Cine. Kadeem Coleman, don't think he's going to be fit for the first round, unfortunately, but might be a nice downgrade option a little bit later. Showmaker's an interesting one, but he's not in my side, but I'll be keeping a little bit of a watch on him. Of the others, Short's burnt me. Colin McKercher, I mean, he could burst out again in his second season, but I don't know about his role. Short's burnt me, as I said, and Matt Roberts, I think he'll probably be around about the same mark. I can't see him increasing upon what he had in 2024, but who knows? And Sam DeConning, I think he's the other one that does stick out to me, just because, again, purely based upon his role, as we saw in 2024, when he did take up the number one ruck mantle, he flashed a little bit of upside in terms of his scoring ceiling. So if he does take back that mantle, which Liam, prior to this record, you mentioned that Conway, he is currently battling injury or returning from injury. So, enhances the prospects of SDK a little bit more. So, awkward price point still, 361.9K, but he is firmly in my sights at this time.
I think what I said in the episode about SDK was I just don't like Chris Scott. Like, roulette with him. He wasn't playing towards the end of the season. Was left out of the prelim side. I just don't know with SDK. But yeah, obviously with Conway now going down, I think he's got like a bulging disc or something because of a coughing fit that he had in bed. It was like, I know, I'm like, this is like the strangest.
Throwing his back out from a coughing fit.
Yeah, and in bed, which is what I love. Like, I don't know, like it
sounds to me.
Love, but like, I just think it makes it so much more interesting.
All done it. Like it seems to me like he's kind of used that as a bit of cover for maybe some bedroom activities, maybe. But surely he must be boasting. He'd be like, just throw my back out with bedroom activities and whatever. But maybe he's just
not safe for the newspapers though.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So party line towed by the Geelong Football Club. Very smart.
That's it. Anyway. That's it. Yeah, I think similar thoughts. I'm probably a little bit more interested in Matt Roberts than you are there, Damon. But I don't think, looking at my side, I'm actually trying to see if I can fit him in, but I don't think I'll ever actually be able to. So while I do like him, I don't think he'll be in my side. But let's jump in. Yeah.
So just quickly on him, I think I heard a stat. Just trying to work out what player it was. It might have been. Who was it? Oh, McInerney. When Justin McInerney was out of the side, there was a bit of a correlation there with an uptick of scoring with Matt Roberts.
Interesting.
I'll have to have a look at that. Maybe we might discuss it in another episode
Yes.
when we get some exposed form from the Swans and Roberts himself. But yeah, there was a little bit of correlation there where, you know, when McInerney was playing, there was a downturn in form with Roberts, and then the adverse to that. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. But something that I just picked up on that kind of gave me a bit of the heebie-jeebies. But
yeah, no, that is a fair point.
I'll let you get to it, Liam. Let's jump into this current episode.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's jump into the socials first. Where you're going to find us on YouTube. Search SuperCoach Edge, and please don't forget to subscribe so that you are notified when our content does drop. So that you do get to hear all of the news, all of our thoughts.
Yep.
Get all the rookie juice. Get it early. Get it early.
Yeah. See us drinking out of oversized glasses, aka Steins.
Not this episode though. Next time.
Unfortunately,
next
not.
time.
Yeah.
If you are listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, please listen to us there, and don't forget to give us a 5-star review if you do enjoy listening. Please.
Mm-hmm. Yep, please do. I would say give us 7, 8, 9, 10 stars, but it's not possible. You can try, but I don't think they'll let you.
Give us 2 5-star reviews.
Very true. That's 10.
I don't know if that's how that works. But anyway, on Twitter, so you'll find us at @supercoach_edge, Damon at DamoJ88, myself at Liam Evans _95. And on Facebook, Insta, and TikTok, search SuperCoach Edge, and you'll find us there.
Very nice. And must thank you again, Liam, for manning the fort and putting on the captain's hat for the last episode whilst I was MIA. So thank you for that. But let us jump into this episode, of course, as you mentioned, and like we did in the rookie episode for the forwards, we are going to just highlight here that we are basing the assessment of all of these rookies off the back of 2 key criteria. Of course, the first one being job security, so whether or not they are likely to keep their role ongoing throughout the season. So as we know, the worst thing that can happen to a rookie is starting in round 1, only to see them omitted from the senior side, marooned on 1 or 2 games before they actually make decent cash with their 3rd game. And the second criteria is via scoring potential, so whether they have the ability to score well enough to warrant either on-field selection or can at least score well enough on your bench to keep their cash generation ticking over. So if a player has ticked both boxes in having solid job security and scoring potential, then they are an immediate tick. Strong scoring potential but low job security is a risk, and high job security but low scoring potential means they'll instead be a slow burn. And you don't want too many of either of those guys in your side, otherwise it does delay your ability to upgrade your side and get ahead of the rest of the pack in the rankings. So, Liam, do you want to kick us off with the first player here?
First player on the list is TOBIE I'm never going to be able to say his name. TRAVAGLIA. 172k mid defender eligible. He averaged 143 in the Coates League in 2024, and with the Saints has that round 13 bye. Now, he was drafted at pick 8 in 2024 and is highly rated as a youngster, looming as an early season debutant, and is currently the 4th most owned defender at 56%. He was playing for the Bendigo Pioneers and is most known for his silky ball use and hard running, and plied his trade across the half-back line with stints also in the midfield, which should earn him an All-Australian selection. Most notably, though, with his dominance in the Coates League, he had 3 consecutive games of 197, 173 and 181. With Darcy Wilson playing from the get-go as a new draftee in 2024, hopefully Ross the Boss continues that trend and isn't afraid to inject this newfound talent early into the senior side. I think he's been playing on a wing off memory in what's it called, Match Sim. So hopefully that bodes well for him and we get an early rookie.
Very nice. Well, verdicts, Liam. I assume he's in your side like mine?
Yeah, in my side at this stage.
Yep.
Obviously, I think with all these rookies, it's going to be very dependent on what actually, eventuates and what we see in
preseason matches.
Preseason matches, that's the word. But yeah, at this stage, he hasn't left my side.
Yep, very much the same. And hopefully he can score as well as what Darcy Wilson did, who was quite dependable as a nice little cash cow. Well, let's move on to the next player, and it's not really a rookie as such, but they are rookie price. It is Jackson Pryor, 169.2K as a defender. His 2024 average, 39.3. And in terms of his buys, he does have the opening round game. So he does have an extra buy, round 4, the early buy, and then round 16 is the traditional buy later on. He found himself on the fringes at the Lions and has come across as a delisted free agent to the Dons. He spent most of the year on the outer at the eventual premiers, but now finds himself with a fresh start at Le Dons. At 169.2K, he's a rookie price who could make some easy cash if he gets a decent role. So that is key here. He has shown that he can be a great distributor off the back line. And with the departure of Jake Kelly, there's a role up for grabs. But he hasn't been the best scorer in SuperCoach, with his best career season being 2022 when he averaged just 56.4. The upside here is we get a free look at Pryor in the opening round as well, which is key here. And we will outline these players that are playing the opening round. So it does help us, especially I think when it comes to cash cows, they're almost as important, if not more important, as we say, than primos, because they really set the foundations for, the cash making ability of our teams to set us up then to generate that cash and salary cap to then bring in those primos as the season goes on. So that is key here. And I mean, the summary here is let's just see how the preseason pans out for Pryor before making a definitive call. Really haven't heard much about him, but Liam, as a Dons man, I know you went down and you had a look at their open training session in recent times. And there's a bit of a caveat there because it was hard to try and find
I laugh.
Who was who.
I laugh because they were all wearing, apparently there was opposition scouts at the game, and so Brad Scott decided that every player would wear a different number. And I think I didn't realize that at the time. I'm just like who I just could not, you could pick some players that you know quite well. But any of the rookies, it was absolute chaos. But even then, I feel like even with the ones you knew, it was still chaos.
Throw you out.
It really did. It was surprised. I think online a few people were like, oh yeah, the scouts won't know, they're paid to do it. So I'm like, I know the players. I could not tell you who. It threw me off.
Did they deliberately do it so they had a rookie wearing number 7, for example? Be like, oh, geez, Merritt's looking pretty raw. What's the go here?
Yeah, there was some weird, Merritt was wearing 25. There was a few I think Sardis was wearing 1. Nick Martin was wearing 5. It was just weird. It did throw you off.
Very strange.
And it was frustrating. So I can't actually tell you what team he was on because I don't know what he looks like and I don't know what his number is, and I couldn't use his number to help me. But from what I heard, I think he was on the A team, but don't quote me on that. So I don't think there's going to be too many issues. I think just see what it looks like across the preseason games. But yeah, I don't think he's a must-have. The one thing that I will say with any player that does have any of these rookies that have the buy, the early buy, they're going to appreciate in cash earlier. So just keep that in mind, that, there is that upside there. So they could end up making cash a bit quicker than... Yeah,
it allows you to upgrade your team a week earlier than what you would normally,
Exactly. Especially if they go big early on in round 0 or in, round 1. But yeah, one thing to consider is that there is sort of that strategy that you might be worthwhile looking at those players.
Yeah, I remember it was someone in the comments mentioned, we were discussing the previous rookie episode about that player that was playing in the Sydney-Melbourne game that burst out of the blocks that everyone jumped on. We couldn't recall his name. There was, forget who it was, apologies in advance, whoever the viewer or listener was, but they mentioned that it was Howe from Melbourne.
Oh, yes, that was it, yeah.
It kind of was on the fringes, and this kind of proves that point that, he wasn't on the radar, and then all of a sudden he's burst out of the blocks, had an insane game. I think he pushed over 100, and you had to jump on him because of that early game, and that would have set into motion that 3-game rolling average, which was quite high, and I think he went up about 50, 60K or something in his first price rise. So yeah, it kind of deviate and shifts depending on performances, and especially in round 0, as you mentioned, that's a very good point.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to the next guy, it is Beau Allen from the Eagles, 136K, defender and midfield eligible, and he has a 51 average in the waffle in 2024 and has the round 15 bye. Looks likely to start his career at halfback, where he should be in a relatively Supercoach friendly role, which is good for us. Does look like a ready-made kind of player with his size, and he did get plenty of opportunity in the waffle for the Pure Thunder. So should be ready-made as much as he can be as a rookie. Also has that handy DPP. He's currently in my side. He's probably I haven't checked the ownership levels, but I assume he would be very, very highly owned.
Yeah, right up there. Yeah, he's in my side as well, just quickly, while still looking at that. But yeah, he looks as though he's going to make an early debut. It always helps highly touted players or higher draft pick players going to the obviously bottom sides, because he's going to get an opportunity and that will come in spades. So looking forward to seeing
owned by 66%.
Oh, bang. There you go. So verdict for both of us, I think, yeah, he's not a lock, but, none of these guys are a lock as such. But at this stage, we'll call him
as close to a lock as you can get.
Yeah, we're almost like locking the lock in a sense.
Yeah. The key's still in.
Yeah, key's still in. Yes, that's a very good point. We don't want to take it out just yet.
Not yet.
Yep. So we've locked the lock, but left the key in so we can, open it.
Just
probably
open it quickly.
Better analogy. Yep.
That's it.
Alrighty, well, let's move on to the next player, and it is another player that isn't so much a rookie as such, but they are rookie price. It is Ben Paton, 133.4K, available as a defender forward, and his 2024 average was 27.5. He does have the 2 buys, playing the opening round, of course. Round 3 and round 14 are those buys. He is an ex-Saint, and he has impressed in match sims at his new club at the Swans, playing in the A team at times in the back line alongside Matt Roberts, Blakey and Rampy. At this price, he won't really have to make big scores to make cash. So watch over the preseason and assess from there. But he was actually, I must admit, in my initial side when I put it together. I mean, these guys that are sort of mature, not mature, Bully is a mature player, but that are available at the at the rookie price. He's kind of got a little bit of footing over other rookies as such at the Swans, because they've drafted him on needs, you'd think.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're quite well stocked in defence, you'd think, but I think from what I've heard, Paton is kind of battling with
Ollie Florent, I think it was.
Florent, that's it. Exactly. Yeah. Great memory. So yeah, I don't mind it. And, he's obviously impressed, and don't mind him. 133.4K, can't go too wrong if he does make his debut early days.
And again, we get to see him in round 0. So it's another kind of free hit with him, which is good. Next guy we have is KALEB Smith, 121.2K defender. He has an average of 25 in 2024 and has the round 14 bye. So with Dan Rioli departing for the Suns, it leaves a big hole in defence for the Tigers in the form of a very Supercoach friendly role, playing as a rebounding halfback, especially for a rookie. And in recent match sims at Richmond training across the preseason, KALEB Smith has been impressing and is in line to take over that vacancy. He only played the 4 games of 2024, which the scores of a sub-affected 5, 57, 30, and then another sub-affected score of 8. But he does come with a good form line behind him in the VFL, averaging 29 disposals, 5 intercepts, and 84 Supercoach points. So definitely one to keep an eye on across the preseason matches, especially if he gets that role.
I quite like him. He's on my bench at the moment. I think it's going into his 2nd season now. He's, as you mentioned there, he's impressed, which is always a good thing. It's kind of a common trend here amongst those that we're talking about. But, I mean, if they're impressing, they're obviously catching the eye of the coaches, and they're, a step towards actually getting a game in round 1. Whether or not they solidify their spot from then on in, we'll just have to wait and see and cross our fingers when that does come to pass. But do like the look of KALEB Smith, and as a rebounding half-backer, it could be absolute gold. In your team at the moment?
Yeah, on my bench. That's all I have to say, actually. Exactly the same as you.
Yep. Very nice. Well, let's move on to the next guy. And the next couple are actually Dons. So you might be able to provide some extra insight here, Liam, if you were able to work out who was who on the training track that is in the recent open training session.
I could figure out these two. I kept an eye on these two,
Hawli's got a big beard, doesn't he? Basher Hawli type?
That
beard?
style, yeah.
Well, it is SAAD How do you pronounce it? Is it Hawli?
I think it's Hawli, I think.
Yep. Yeah. Geez, he really is trying to become Bashahuli. Name and in looks. 119.9K, available as a defender midfielder, 2024 average in the VFL, a very, very healthy 111, and does play the opening round. So does have the round 4 bye early on and then round 16 as well. And, you know, after crossing over the Dons in the mid-season draft, I think via the Bull Ants, was it, from memory?
Yeah.
AL-HAWLI, he's managed scores of 75, 148, 128, and 100 in the VFL before succumbing to a season-ending injury requiring ankle surgery. When given the opportunity, it looks like he should be able to score well enough. And at that price point, as a mature age player, he's ready-made for SuperCoach. He looks likely to be a downgrade option at this stage, however, as he hasn't been seen in the A team, unfortunately, during match sim for the Dons. Of course, another one, watch the preseason, but maybe a handy downgrade, as I mentioned, later in the season. Because it's a bit of a shame. I mean, you'll be able to verify this, Liam, but I was hearing whispers that he was kind of close to making his debut at the back end of 2024.
Yeah.
And of course, that injury curtailed any of those prospects. But do you think, in terms of role, as I've heard murmurs, maybe not necessarily off the half back, maybe is it pushing up to the wing, or do you think it is a spot there in defence? Like, will Nick Martin play in defence? Will Nick Martin play on the wing? There's a few shuffling deck chairs by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I probably stitch you up there a little bit. I don't know whether he hasn't played in the A team at all. I think he might have been in there, but just not as a consistent option. So apologies there. But I can't remember on that weekend what he was wearing. I remember seeing him, but he was a bit quiet, if I'm honest, in the part of the match sim that I got to watch. I think he's probably more likely to be playing a wing role as opposed to a defensive role. Shields moved back to halfback, playing that Nick Martin role. Nick Martin was training with the mids, but I have a feeling he'll sort of play that high half forward kind of role almost. Definitely more forward of the ball, or forward of centre, sorry. But probably getting up around stoppages and whatnot. I think AL-HAWLI will play at some stage this season. I just don't know whether it'll be at the start.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, is it? Because we kind of need these guys.
Yeah, you don't want
Killian Coleman, another one. Like, yeah, you're totally right. Yeah,
and especially at this price point, like you don't want like a like let's say a Travaglia doesn't get up. He's 172K. Like that's not a good. You don't really want to be downgrading to someone at 172. It's not maximizing cash. You want to be downgrading to someone that's 120K, 110K, that kind of thing. So I don't think it's the end of the world. I think we've got enough options. Looks like we'll have enough options in the back line to be able to pick our rookies. And at least it gives us a downgrade option down the line. Now moving on to another Don, it is Zach REID, 119.9K, defender eligible, a 2024 average of 15 and plays in obviously like his teammate in opening round and has the round 4 and 16 buys. Now, I feel like we're just having the same conversation again, but most will have PTSD after seeing his name sitting on the bench for the entirety of season 2024. He injured himself, I think it was a third of the way through the Dons' first match of the season for a score of just 15. We did have high hopes, but unfortunately his body couldn't hold up. When he did get himself right from, I think it was a hamstring off memory, bad hamstring, played in the VFL, had 22 intercepts and averaged 82 before another injury finished his season. I think it was a pec tear or something. I don't know. Yeah. He's looked good, I have to say, in the off-season when I did go to, and has been training and playing in the match sims for the Dons A side. So as long as he's playing, as long as he's fit, I imagine he's playing. When I was watching him, he was the main kick-out taker. I actually don't think I saw another player in the A side take a kick-out. McGrath and Redmond didn't take any. Ridley wasn't playing, obviously, so that's one thing to consider there. But if he can get a couple of kick-ins a game, it's just some easy points for him as well. He'd be a slow burn as a key position for defender, but if he is fit, I imagine he's playing at a 119K, nice low price.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people you spoke of or referred to with PTSD because he stayed in my team the entire year.
Love it. Love
And I
it.
thought, oh, he's going to be a handy loophole. Nah, there were stages there where I actually needed someone off the bench. And I was like, come on, Zach with a H, put it in H. And he put it in Park
H.
because it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. No, that's
Um,
fair.
yeah, but in terms of, I guess, role, it does help. We spoke of or referred to Kelly
Mm.
earlier. With the departure of him, does it now solidify the spot for Zach Reid even more compared to last season? Like, would Reid have played on a consistent basis, do you think, if he was fit?
Yep.
Yep.
I don't think there's any reason he wouldn't have played if he wasn't injured. I think he's probably less competing with a Callie and probably more likely to be competing with a Laverde
Yeah, okay.
style player. Like I would say that those two are the kind of not they're not like for like in the slightest. There's like
Similar,
20,
yeah.
30 centimeters difference between the two of them, I'd say.
Yeah.
But you know, like that's the role that they'd both probably be taking. Like that would be the difference. And I think he's the first pick. Like they'd take
Well,
him
okay.
over Laverde.
Yeah, I heard Laverde's a bit of a whipping boy. From the outside looking in, it
I
seems
don't
as though,
dislike him. I don't mind him.
yeah,
But I think when it like I'm like looking at it realistically, I think Reed's the player I'd want playing
yeah,
in terms of foot skills and height.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's more ability there compared to Lav. Yeah, so I as long as he's fit and able to be playing in the Dons side, he'll be playing. I can't imagine he gets dropped.
I didn't realize he was that tall, 202
Mm.
centimeters, 90 kilograms. Well, this is just looking at his Wikipedia, so who knows? He could be bloody 150 kilos. We just don't know, given the factual evidence supplied by Wikipedia. But taken pick 10 back in the 2020 AFL
2020.
draft.
Yeah.
So he's had his fair share of injuries and setbacks and stuff, hasn't he?
And he's
So
only
highly
played like
touted.
6 games.
Crazy. Yeah. So hopefully he can put it together for his sake and for ours with SuperCoach. Well, let's move on to the next prospect, and it is James Leake. Priced at 119.9K for the Giants as a defender only. 2024 average in the VFL was 100, so very, very enticing. He does play the opening round, of course, so he does have the early round 2 bye and then round 16. And Leake, he is I guess you can call him a versatile utility who could be a defensive bench lock if he does get mid-minutes. In early match sims, he has played as a defensive midfielder, locking down on Tom Green in late January. And with Peatley also moving to the Crows and having played that defensive role in the past, could Leake potentially find himself a spot in the Giants' best 23? Liam, I'm keeping an eye on him. I know some people do have him in their team at the moment, but as you mentioned earlier, we do need these later season downgrades. And even more so when we're going through the list here and seeing the names that are available that could play early on, it's going to be so hard to squeeze guys like Leake into our teams. And it's going to come down to, I think, more often than not, as we said, those two criteria in job security and scoring potential. He could potentially have both.
Yeah, agreed. I don't have Leake in my side currently, but that's not to say that I don't want him in my side.
No.
It's just like at this stage, there's a degree of who do you pick?
Yeah.
And I tend to go for higher price, but this has just been my general thing. I try and get the higher priced rookie in. If I'm tossing up between two players, I kind of look at their prices and then I'm like, if I can use like just to balance the team out.
Because you're not tearing your team apart to try and get in.
Yeah. And I'm not like, oh, now I need to try and find 10K to get him in, or 20K to get this player, and I've got to make other changes.
Yeah.
So I try and do that. So then I'm like, okay, for instance, I've got Patton in my side currently at 133K. If I wanted to trade him down to, well, not trade, but just swap him out to Leake, that's an easy swap. I've then made myself, just over 10K, 14K.
Yep. No, he looks like a good prospect. Came from nowhere, really. I didn't think he would be on the radar as much as what he is, but he has impressed the Giants coaching staff by the sounds of it. And could be in line for an early season debut, which, I mean, to the Giants' credit, they actually do quite well in terms of blooding youngsters in recent times. So could make his debut 100%.
Yep, agreed. Next up, we have Jed Buslinger, 119.9K defender. with an average of 105 in the VFL in 2024 and has that awkward round 12 bye. Now, we weren't really talking about him, but he has come storming into consideration after an injury to Liam Jones in Match Sim a few weeks ago. He's been a great interceptor and user of the ball in the backline in the VFL. And in 2024, he actually managed 13 SuperCoach tons in his 19 games. So that's huge. Could be good for us. Obviously, though, we have to temper that. If he does take over that Liam Jones role, it's not going to be great for scoring. But at 119K, I don't think it's going to be too big an issue. He'll make cash if he plays.
Yep. Yeah, he's another player that I've got my eye on very, very closely. Yeah, it's going to be such a squeeze to try and get all these guys in, but been in the system for a couple of seasons now, so looks to be, I guess, at that stage of his career where it can actually, we've seen guys that have been held back in the VFL and then they absolutely burst on the scene, and they're absolutely, champion at the bit to get an opportunity, and when they do, they absolutely smash it. So like the look of him and the sound of him as well. So one to watch for sure. Next up, we have Luke Trainer, 113.5K. In terms of his buy, only has the round 14 buy, playing for the Tigs though. So that is one thing we need to consider. Could potentially have opportunity, but in terms of his performances in the under 18 champs, he did impress quite well. I think he was spoken about as potential top 5 draft pick at one stage. However, he did sustain a concussion late in the season at under 18 champs level and added to a number of concussion queries, which saw his high draft ranking slide before Richmond snapped him up at pick 21. He did average 20 disposals, 5 intercepts and 91 SuperCoach points across the season, which earned him All-Australian selection. I think just with his health queries, at such an early stage of his career that he hasn't even started yet, to be fair, at senior level, I think the Tigers might be a little bit more cautious with him in their approach to how they blood him. What Bolt is going to be missing, I think he's been suspended for a couple of rounds for off-field misdemeanors.
First couple of memory, but if you continue, I'll have a look.
Yeah, so while I think that might enhance his prospects, I think they might temper those expectations internally due to those, not queries, but I guess, the battles that he's had with concussion. And we know it is quite storied with players sustaining concussion and having their careers shortened, which there was a guy I forget his surname, but for the Dogs, he got drafted and had to retire early on. I think it was the brother of, what's his name? Noddy from Freo. Yeah, he unfortunately had to retire due to concussion. So, again, it's one of those things that they need to really keep a close watch on.
Was it O'Driscoll?
O'Driscoll, that's the one. Yep.
Yeah, Aidan O'Driscoll. Yeah, I remember that. Bolter is suspended for the first 4 matches.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, I still don't think it's enough.
No.
He's going to get, 2 price rises if he does play.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you imagine he's going to be dropped after that, potentially.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, it just remains to be seen whether or not they want to play him through the VFL, even for maybe 1 or 2 of those opening games, the first games of the season, and then maybe bring him in for a couple that Bolt is going to be missing. But Bowl reports he's an incredible player. Depends on role as well. Like, he could be that intercept type player, which at junior level he was quite adept at. So, hence the reason why he was able to average the 91 SuperCoach points at that level. But probably, again, key position player, unless you see exposed form, it's hard to really assess him.
Yes. And last guy on the list for today's ep is Ben JEPSON, 99.1K, absolute bargain, defender eligible. Plays for the Suns, so has the round 2 and round 14 bye, obviously playing in opening round. And he is a mature ager, and he has come into the side for the Suns as a preseason supplemental selection. And as he is that sub 100K price tag, he could be an absolute gem for us in SuperCoach. He averaged 25 touches, going at 80% efficiency in the VFL last season, so should be able to score well if given the opportunity at the Suns, which it looks like he may be, but who knows. He was a BNF winner at, I can't remember what club he was at, Coburg. off
Yeah, I
memory.
think it was Coburg. Yeah.
Be interesting to see whether he does get named. But if he does, I think at 99.1k, we'll all be hopefully jumping on him.
For both Coburg and Southport. So there you go. You were spot on, Liam. Won the Lions best and fairest in 2023. Again, you're spot on. Look at that. Earned himself VFL Team of the Year honours, representing the league in last April's representative match against the Samful. So high pedigree for sort of mature age type player. And yeah, could be another mature age player that has a bit of an impact at the Suns.
Yeah, definitely one to watch.
Don't mind him. When you said his name, I immediately had the theme song of the Jetsons in my head.
Meet George Jetson, his boy Elroy.
He's Coach Dimmer. I'll stop there. But I just wanted to round out as well. There is a player here that I want to speak about briefly, put him on the radar as another player that could be a late season downgrade option, because it is someone from my mob, Billy Wilson. Halfbacker, I think he's worth about 119.9k. Could have potentially made a debut late in 2024, especially due to injuries. But now with Nick Newman going down, it does enhance his prospects as a depth player to then move up the charts if there is potentially another injury or if they need to rest anyone or so on and so forth. But through his form line in the VFL has looked really good. Another player who can sort of run and dash, provide a bit of speed off the halfback that I think Carlton does need at various stages, and especially without Newman in the team. I think he will have to bide his time still, because Ollie Hollands will be going back and playing that role, or that vacant role that has been left by the injury of Newman. But just someone to keep in mind, because he will get an opportunity at some stage, I do expect, and will be a very nice downgrade option at some stage. But Liam, that rounds us out for another, I guess, broader discussion on a different line, this time, of course, in defenders. So that is the forwards and defenders in the can, which leaves us with either the midfield or the ruck, which is a bit of a segue here, Liam, because you mentioned it in the last rookie episode, trying to work out as to which line that we speak about next. And because we couldn't decide ourselves, we thought, you know what, let's throw it open to the to chance, to the gods. I could hear Billy Brownless in the background saying, "Spin the wheel," in his drunken state as he used to on the footy show.
Where's the wheel? I want to spin the wheel, mate.
And you mentioned as well, tossing up the chance between using the Wheel of Misfortune, which is what we used, or the emoji race game. I was kind of filled with regret because I like the emoji race. Why don't we have a look at the emoji race and
let's do it.
Let it decide between either the midfield or the ruck being the next line that we'll chat about. So we're ready. This is different to the last time. But Mids looks to be a little bit puffed out already, whereas Rux is like, come at me, bro.
He's ready.
He's
Maxi
ready.
Gordon's ready. He's ready to run you down.
3, 2, 1, and go. Can you hear that music?
Nah.
It's like German music. Yep, and here we go. We've got Rux in front at the moment. Mids is struggling just a little bit. I don't know what the go is. This is incredible music, by the way. It would take you back to Germany if you're listening to this, Liam. Dude, Mids!
Oh!
It's happening!
Yes!
Hey! How about that? It's the old children's show, and it had like the vacuum cleaner, the hot water bottle. And,
yes. The Johnson and Friends, yep.
Yep, Johnson and Friends, it's the one. What was the instrument?
Big fan.
Massive
Accordion.
fan. Accordion. That's what I was thinking of. It's like an accordion that's playing, and I could just imagine you in like a Lauderhosen and doing like a bit of a dance to it whilst having a stein filled with rookie juice, so on and so forth.
I do miss the rookie juice. It was. I mean, it was a pretty good gut run. You know, saved himself until the last 100 meters. Then
the emoji. How would you describe the emoji for those people that are tuning in via the audio podcast? Is it kind of? I remember it's a bit of a false sense of security that he was throwing out.
It's kind of like.
Yeah, it's like the eyes are like turned in.
I don't know how to do the eyes, if I'm honest with you, but.
And meanwhile, the Rux was like tongue out, like, come at me, bro. And it's a bit like Gorney. It's like a bit like
also
Maxi
the eyes on the other one are just like staring into your soul.
That decides it, Liam. We called it. Mids, and it's coming. So we've had to wait for 6 episodes down in order to get to the mids, which is the juiciest part. I thought you were frozen for a second there, so you almost got me. You did the old gag, the old trick of just being really still. I'll have to do it again next time to get you back when you least expect it. I won't do it now, but maybe another time next episode. But midfielders, it is Liam. So looking forward to that. And it is courtesy of the Emoji Race Timer Randomizer. They should just sponsor us, really, because we will use it throughout the season. It is quite good fun. I'm going to see if I can rip that music as well. I'll put it underneath in the edit, just so those people can get a sense of what I was talking about. And just imagine you dancing around, kicking your legs out in the Lederhosen and with Steins and playing the accordion. No doubt is what you were doing when you went to Germany.
That's all I did.
That's all you did. Exactly. That's not the only thing you did. Whilst looking at your team on your phone,
let me rephrase.
Your SuperCoach team picker.
I had the accordion in both hands, and then I don't know. I was also looking at the SuperCoach app.
Yeah.
While drinking a big stein of rookie juice.
Yeah. You had to use Jackie on hand to hold the phone whilst you were looking at it, and she had to do the team for you. Well, Liam, that rounds us out for another episode. But before we sign off, where can the good people of the SuperCoach Edge community find us across our social channels?
They can find us on YouTube. They search SuperCoach Edge, and please don't forget to like and subscribe on Apple Pods, on Spotify. Search SuperCoach Edge, and if you listen to us there, please leave us a 5-star review. And on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, search SuperCoach Edge. That's where you'll find us. But of course, Twitter, you'll find us at @SuperCoach_Edge. You'll find Damon at DeborahJ88, myself at Liam Evans_95. And if you do have any questions, any thoughts, any players you'd like us to analyze, please let us know, especially if they're someone we haven't spoken about.
Very nice. And before we sign off as well, I will again just alert people to the fact, if you don't know, you will now know that the crew over at SuperCoach Swordplay, they have compiled a very, very nice resource, a SuperCoach season guide, very much like the AFL prospectus, full of stats, full of analysis, full of opinion, everything else, including myself as well, speaking about all things Carlton. Be sure to check it out via the Swordplay SuperCoach website. And we do have a code as well to gift you 10% off the price, which I think works out to be around about $2 off, better than nothing. So you get it for $18 compared to $20. And that code is SCEdge10. So punch that in when you are in checkout, and you can get it with a little bit of a discount. So check it out. Liam, anything else I've forgotten? Checked all the lists there?
Nothing.
That's it. We'll leave you there.
You've done it.
And we'll be back with another episode very, very soon. And we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks again for tuning in. And thank you, Liam. We'll see you all then.
See you guys.